bar. I hope you enjoyed your Vauquer yesterday. Today we're going to be going something a little bit different. Today we're going to be talking about a Sazerac. And yes, you may have noticed I am indeed wearing a different shirt. Just because you're in quarantine doesn't mean you can't be fancy. Although it's definitely still fuzzy and I'm definitely still not wearing pants. But that aside, the Sazerac. A little bit more heavy, a little bit more feisty. It's got the absinthe factor, so if you don't like a black licorice, maybe don't do that or substitute that for something else. But personally, black jelly beans, black licorice, I'm a huge fan. So that nose that you get from that absinthe, really, I am a huge fan of. That is really just used for the nose, to coat the glass with. It's not a core component of the drink, it's just for kind of the olfactory senses, not so much the taste. From that perspective, you're going to have a Rye Whiskey, as well as a Cognac, in this case an Armagnac, which I'm actually pronouncing correctly this time. And you may notice that I got the cork out. Don't pay any attention to the little cork piece of the bottle, that's neither here nor there. Sidebar, if you happen to drop a cork in a bottle, a pickle picker outer, the little plunger thingy with the four prongy things that go down, works really well. Just in case that were happen to happen. Not that I would ever know anything about that, but you know, just in case. So all that aside, we now have our whiskey, our Armagnac, our absinthe to coat the glass with. We also have a simple syrup that I'm using in place of a sugar cube and water because I think it's a little bit easier to get more consistent consistency throughout the drink. And then we also have two different bitters here. One of them is a rosemary grapefruit peppercorn, and then one is just a little bit more herbal dark bitter than Angostura because you've got the harsh flavors of a little bit more of a harsh whiskey and the absinthe. I want a little bit more body to the bitters, so I'm doing more of a black bitter instead of the Angostura. Again, I have my color-coordinated fancy cup of, croutons, ice scoops, whatever you want to call them. We got those in the glass here, and we are going to do equal parts of our Armagnac or Cognac, whatever your heart desires. So we'll do about 1.5 ounces of this guy. That looks delightful. And I'm going to do another 1.5 ounces of my rye. In this case, I'm using a journeyman distiller. This one's not a king. It's a place that's between here and Michigan. I've been to it a couple times. Nice place, really cool distillery. And they've got a whole bunch of ones. It's newer, so most of their whiskeys aren't quite as aged as other places. A little bit more of a bite, a little bit more of a, I don't want to say herbal, but it's not floral, it's got a little bit sharper, but in this case that sharpness is good because your Sazerac is going to be a little bit more for a hot day, a little bit more for when you want something where you can taste the burn and you want that as a desirable quality of the drink. Personally, I like the taste of alcohol, so for me that's a fantastic thing. Now to cut that, we also have a little bit of simple syrup that we're going to put in, and this is purely going to be put in to taste. In my case, I'm not going to do all that much, maybe about a tablespoon or so, but it really just depends how sweet you want the drink to be. Totally depends on that. One other important thing to note, now this is one that I made at home by just combining sugar and water in a saucepan on the stove. Be careful because different simple syrups have different levels of sugariness to them. So if you have a very particularly strong one, you may only need to use half as much as if you made a weaker simple syrup. It really just goes down to the ratios that you do for that water to sugar ratios when you're putting it together. I think this is about 1.5 parts water to 1 part sugar. So it's fairly strong, so I don't need to use all that much to get the consistency that I want, but as a side benefit, it also isn't going to dilute the drink as much as it would if it were a weaker ratio of sugar to water. I'm going to put in my standard couple shakes of our dark bitters, and because I want a little bit more of that dark, woody, kind of intense, deep flavor profile, I'm using a rosemary, grapefruit, and peppercorn bitters, again, from that crude bitter place I talked about yesterday. It's tasty, it's good, it gives you that kind of je ne sais quoi quality, which is what people say when they don't know how to describe something, but it's going to be tasty nonetheless. Now, as always, I do tend to do a little bit more bitters than most folks just because I like more flavoring things, I overspice things, I like flavor, so going ahead and put a little bit extra into there. So we're going to give this a nice little shake. I'm going to be really careful because I don't want to dilute this with any chips off the ice. So in this case, I'm not even going to stir it with a spoon. I'm just going to shake it around for a bit. That's going to give me all the combination that I need. If I were using a sugar cube or just granulated sugar and water, I'd want to make sure that that's really well incorporated before I do anything else with the drink. But because these are all already liquids, I'm going to be able to get it really nicely combined without doing anything too intensely to the drink, and it's still going to be able to have all that flavor while still being chilled and mixed very nicely. Now the key part of the Sazerac that we have not done yet is coating the glass with your absinthe. Now this happens to be a giant bottle of absinthe, so I'm going to very carefully pour just a little bit. And because I don't want to dilute the beverage anymore once it's in the glass, I'm also not going to put a big ice cube in the glass. And so for that, I'm going to be using one of these. Now this is a glass that I backed a Kickstarter for. It's from Norlin. It's now a full-fledged company. They've got crystal glasses, ones like this, ones that are black. But what's great about it is, if you can tell, it's double wall. So there's this inner section and this outer section. So it acts the same way that your coffee thermos is going to act to keep the inner container whatever temperature it is when you put it in. We're going to pull this back out in a couple weeks when we have a warm cocktail, because that double wall factor is going to continue keeping it the temperature we want it to be while not freezing or burning our hands on the outside. So I'm going to carefully just put a little dribble of absinthe into here. That was far too much. For making this regularly, I actually have a little squeeze bottle where I can just put in a few drops. And I'm going to very carefully just kind of roll the glass around to make sure that I get the inside coated without spilling any, if at all possible. Now you can also do this over a sink and kind of pour it out into the sink as you're finishing coating the glass, but instead, I like absinthe, so I'm just going to drink it. So now that we have our beautifully coated glass that has all the flavor of the absinthe, that's going to really impact the nose, not mixed into the drink, so it's not going to impact the flavor of the drink so much, but it's really going to have a big effect on the nose, what we smell, and as we're drinking, that nose has a huge impact on what we taste, so that combination is going to be really nice. Now that we have our glass fully coated, our beverage fully chilled and nicely stirred, we're now going to just do our nice little pour, and it's going to give us that really nice combination of absinthe and that cognac or Armagnac and whiskey, and that really nice color because we don't have those ice chips. It's already clear, already perfect to drink. Oh, it's got that absinthe nose, you just want to have it there. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're enjoying your cocktails at home and adding a little bit of new things into what you're trying. It's the weekend, it's Friday, so enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend tomorrow. Don't go out too hard tonight, because you shouldn't be going out at all, because it's social quarantine, and that's how you can be a good citizen. So enjoy your weekend. I'm planning on being back with the old fashioned coming up next, and then we'll have something a little bit fancy and warm after that. Cheers.